We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. We appreciate you making us a part of your day. And while everybody is getting ready, getting hyped, getting prepped for Super Bowl 58 between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, Chicago, and more specifically, Chicago Bears fans have their eyes and ears glued to everything that has to deal with the NFL draft this coming April, and more specifically, what is going to happen with Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. And some news kind of hit the wire that has Bears fans, Bears Twitter, Bears social media in an uproar. And it has to do with some words said by national media broadcaster, big time hot take artist, one of the best at the business at what he does of being a broadcast taker in the sports realm. And that is Colin Cowherd. And he heard some rumors. He had some insight on what the Caleb Williams camp is thinking and maybe some scenarios that will happen between Chicago and some other suitors in this year's NFL draft. So I haven't heard the actual clip from the episode of Colin Cowherd and what he had to say. So here on the Sports Cubicle around the water cooler, each of us are going to listen to it and we'll break it down. We'll see what is said and the merit to it and what kind of vibes this is giving out and any clues of what we might be seeing in the next few months.
There are some, I will say this because I'm a kind of connected to this whole Caleb thing.
I know you're sitting on some stuff.
I am sitting on some stuff. I think there are some concerns in NFL circles that Dad has a little too much say in power. There's worried that they're not going to hire an agent. Now, Lamar Jackson didn't, and it was fine.
Was it?
Well, it wasn't perfect, but it worked. He got his paycheck. It's not ideal. You'd like to have a real agent. There's some concerns here that Dad's a little too involved. Now, dads are very, very involved in high school and college quarterbacking. So that's just part of the new world we live in. But I still contend, you're going to think I'm nuts here. I do think it's possible that Washington trades up and Chicago allows Washington to trade up because Caleb and his group do not want to go to Chicago.
So there's a lot to take in from there. That's Colin Cowherd on his show talking about what he is hearing from, I think, a bunch of different places and their opinions about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. And there is also one other clip I want you guys to listen to about Colin Cowherd speaking on Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears and the problem the Bears have.
I've been told there are places that Caleb Williams in the NFL is very concerned about. And they are organizations that have a lousy history of developing quarterbacks and protecting quarterbacks. You can figure out who they are. Chicago.
So if you're a Bears fan, what are you supposed to take from this? How are you supposed to digest this? What can you take from this and put the clues together and wonder and guess and speculate what the Chicago Bears are going to do, what Caleb Williams is going to do? There's a few things I want to highlight about what he said there, especially the sourcing of this information. I think first thing you have to kind of keep in mind is the ties Colin Cowherd does have to NFL agents and people in NFL staffs. And obviously his connections to USC being in Los Angeles. He is plugged in. But this isn't Adam Schefter. This isn't Jay Glazer. This isn't any of the top tier NFL newsbreakers that you know and that you trust when it comes to a source in the NFL news realm. Is it possible that the family, the camp of Caleb Williams is trying to do everything they can to guarantee whoever picks them makes it the best deal possible, that they meet every type of demand or any type of worry they answer? Is it possible that the NFL front offices are the ones telling Colin Cowherd that they're worried about Caleb Williams' father and the way that they're managing him and handling him? I think at the end of the day, what Bears fans have to understand is this is going to be your life if this is all you consume when it comes to sports news for the next 3 months, because it's only going to be speculation. There is not going to be this definitive report that comes out unless, again, it is Jay Glazer or Adam Schefter or whoever, Ian Rappaport, whoever you want to name. And it's coming from Caleb Williams' mouth himself or Ryan Poles' mouth himself. I think we have to come to the reality that it doesn't matter what you hear and what you see. Follow the money and follow what makes the most sense. Do I think Justin Fields is a heck of a quarterback? Absolutely. Would I love to see Justin Fields under the best circumstances be the number one quarterback, the guy of the Chicago Bears? Of course. Does everybody like the dude off the field? Of course. But if you are just using common sense in an NFL mindset, the Chicago Bears are not going to trade down unless they have decided to go with Justin Fields. And there's been no indication that that's the case. How often does a general manager pass up on picking up a quarterback 2 straight years? And you know the number 1 pick isn't going to be Marvin Harrison. As much as Chicago Bears fans would love to see Marvin Harrison Jr. with Justin Fields. Maybe if you move down to number 2, that may be in the books. But even then, if they move just down 1, that means they're picking a quarterback. And if that's the case, that means they scouted that somebody is better than Caleb Williams, who, if it wasn't for this weird new dynamic that's being played that happens every draft season of talking about somebody's character, and for not having the best results on a USC team after his Heisman year, that wasn't that great of a USC team to begin with, talent-wise around him. That was the consensus number 1. And now you're going to trade down and pick another quarterback over him because there might be some whispers, some murmurs. Now, there has been enough smoke to say he probably doesn't want to come to Chicago. Rightfully so, if your worry is, can they develop a quarterback? Why do they keep the same head coach? Can I trust them to utilize me and put me in the best position? Bring me enough talent that I can do my job and elevate this team. The Shane Waldron hire is a very solid one on the offensive coordinator side. And obviously having Matt Eberflus come back as a head coach does bring in some type of continuity. Just a few days ago, the Bears hired the Bills' former defensive lineman coach, Eric Washington, as their defensive coordinator. So you have a good defense. You have what was a very up-and-coming, very highly praised offensive coordinator that comes from the Sean McVay tree coming into your team. You have the continuity, the foundation of a head coach coming back that has really connected with a lot of these players, the star players on this team, and a GM that has hit on multiple trades, multiple drafts. There's a lot to like about Chicago, while fully acknowledging if you were Caleb Williams and you were worried about the way that they utilize and that they packaged and that they tried to develop Justin Fields, specifically Luke Getsy, that's a valid criticism if you're part of the Caleb Williams team, if you're Caleb Williams himself. But that doesn't seem to be the case right now. I think you have to be careful when you're reading or listening to opinions and hot takes like we did from Colin Cowherd. There might be some truth to it. It might play out that way. Also, in general, in this entire conversation, this long few months we're going to have until April, more than likely, whatever your opinion is, whatever your guess is, it's going to be incorrect because that's how it is in sports and especially in the NFL. More than likely, whoever the Bears pick at quarterback, whether it is Justin Fields, whether it is Caleb Williams, whether it is Jaden Daniels, whether it is J.J. McCarthy, whether it is a Michael Penix, a Bo Nix, more than likely it'll be wrong. More than likely somebody will be drafted that nobody saw coming. But you have to do your due diligence. You have to do all the work to make the best educated guess you can. And if that means drafting Caleb Williams, that is what the Bears are going to do. If it means trading down, that's what the Bears are going to do. But I don't think it's some crazy feat to guess it's going to be a bust or they're going to trade out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because math says it's not going to work out. But the Bears, in my opinion, have to make this move. They have to take and seize this opportunity. Whether or not they do it, it's a different question. It's a different scenario. But I also believe it's very important in 2024, if you're a sports fan that consumes a lot of sports media, that your sports literacy IQ needs to get higher. You need to train it. You need to develop it. Colin Cowherd was saying words like, I believe, I've heard. It's not Caleb Williams said. Ryan Post said. It was an opinion that gained traction and fits a narrative of drama, big name franchises in Chicago and Washington. Caleb Williams, Heisman winner in SoCal from Washington. Will he be the savior of Chicago? Easy narratives, and rightfully so, of bad organization never developing a quarterback in Chicago. And the fact that they decide everything in the news cycle post Super Bowl. That's the key to all this. That no matter what, after the Super Bowl, the number one story in the NFL is Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. We already seen Bears fans and NFL fans on social media lose it over this clip. I'm telling you, it's only gonna get worse, dumber, interesting, gross. Every word, adjective, description, descriptor you can think of is gonna be the case. My instincts, my gut feeling, my educated guess, even after hearing that, is I believe they're drafting Caleb Williams. Williams. But that doesn't mean that it's going to work out for them. It also doesn't mean that it's going to work if they keep Justin Fields. The only thing that matters is that whatever decision they make, that it ends up being the correct one. Because if it's not, they're going to set their franchise back another 10 years. We got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment at the Sports Cubicle. We're all over the universe. Follow the podcast. Share us. Subscribe to us wherever you get your favorite podcast at the Sports Cubicle Sports from the Couch. And our SoundCloud over on WCPT SoundCloud, WCPT 820. What did you think about Colin Cowherd saying that Washington will trade up to number 1 and the Bears will happily trade down to number 2, specifically because Caleb Williams does not want to be a Chicago Bear? Let us know your thoughts. We got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm Mike Mercado.